Hi there everybody, my name is Aubrey and I'm an opera singer and a voice coach. We're going to start a brand new series here on my channel where we talk a little bit about the Disney Princess I Want song. Now, not all of the Disney princesses have I Want songs, not all of them even sing, so we're only going to talk about the ones that do. We're also going to start with the animated princesses rather than the live action ones. Maybe in the future I'll talk about them if everybody wants me to, but until then let's just start with something simple for me to accomplish. So, we're going to start with the very first princess, Snow White, and Adriana Caselotti played her. She actually came from a family that already was very musical. She ended up later in life singing a role in Rigoletto, so that's a fun fact. So without any further ado, let's take a look at I'm Wishing from Disney's Snow White. That's such an iconic sounding hum. I remember that from my childhood.
Wanna know a secret? Promise not to tell? We are standing by a wishing well. Make a wish into the well. That's all you have to do. And if you hear it echoing, your wish will soon come true.
Okay, let's start there. What a beautiful sound. It's so light and childlike. It really evokes a lot of this sense of innocence, which is critical to the character. When we look at that hum, it is so tight and forward. So when I'm actually trying to imitate it or use it as a technique for myself personally, I place the front of my tongue right behind my front teeth, and then I let the rest of the fleshy part of my tongue kind of line the roof of my mouth. And so it ends up making a very small space, and it kind of ends up resonating a little bit back here, and then I like to lift it a little bit. So then when I go and try it out, it kind of sounds like this. It might not exactly sound like hers, but it's reminiscent, and it's actually an element to my own exercises that I use as a warm-up, just to keep my forward sense very activated. Something really special about the color of her voice is that it's so bright and so forward. Something that helps me to achieve a similar kind of color is to really use the W in words like wishing. That W shape ends up helping me think about where my lips are in relation to the other parts of the word, as well as where my tongue is sitting, to help remind my face where to be when I'm singing stuff like this in her style. So you end up with a pretty tight little W, and then you don't open up the E as much as we normally do to an IH sound. We end up keeping it very, very E forward. The next thing that's really specific to her style, and kind of reminiscent to a lot of singers of that era, is these very pure vowels. And you can see that really strongly on to do and other things of that sort. It's very, very round, it's really warm, and it ends up creating a very clear dichotomy between one vowel to the next. Something that also sticks out in a lot of people's mind is that vibrato. It is so tight. And when I use the word tight, I'm talking about the oscillation rate of the vibrato being pretty quick, and the distance that the vibrato is going between two pitches being pretty small. So we end up with a very light and fluttery, shimmery color to her sound. So as a warning, when we're looking at this kind of vibrato, there's a tendency towards tighten and grip at the same time. We really want it to be very relaxed. We want it to feel ethereal and free, dreamlike, whimsical, all of those kinds of colors. And that, as a result, will give you a nice shimmer without it being quite as constrained. Let's continue.
I'm wishing for the one I love to find me today.
So clean.
I'm hoping and I'm dreaming of the nice things you say.
Love that.
I'm wishing
Hello.
Me too, Snow White. That would surprise the heck out of me. So overarchingly, her color is so pretty. And the thing that makes it most special is actually the cleanliness at which she's going from one point to another. It is so crisp. There's really no sliding or anything like that, which shows quite a lot of vocal discipline, as well as a sense of understanding of what she wants to do with that vocalese. We can actually end up using that in our own exercises, because when we go on a piano, we can pick one note and then another, and try our best to make a very clean change from point A to point B. This is actually a surprisingly difficult thing to do effectively, so you might want to throw it into your own rotations. It is so easy to fall out of pitch when you're trying to do specific motion, so always take that into consideration. I love that little romantic portamento she does on The One I Love because it's so sweet and it's so delicate. One thing I really hope that people take away from listening to this is the conversation about tenderness in the voice. We can't forget that some of the greatest performances out there are some of the most tender as well. So when we listen to this particular version of Snow White, we're not listening to her because she's got something to prove. She's not trying to show us anything. She's just trying to sing through this moment that's supposed to be personal, which is also kind of why she gets surprised by the prince at the end, right? And so when we're singing these kinds of dream passages, we want to also emulate that in our own pieces. Never be afraid of practicing pieces, even if it's just for fun and not ultimately what you do on stage, as a bit more of a tender, personal moment, almost like you're singing to yourself. These things can change our entire perspectives on pieces, and it can be a really cool way for us to explore dichotomy and also really challenge ourselves to try different things that we might not be as used to. Overarchingly, our friend Snow White sings with a fabulous level of dexterity as well as discipline, in conjunction with a very shimmery, light color throughout the whole piece. It's something that we can absolutely take into our own studies, and it really also shows the value of moments that are softer and more intimate. And that, my friends, is our quick rundown of Adriana Caselotti in Snow White. I look forward to making the next video, which will be Cinderella, and if you have any other recommendations or comments, questions, things like that, please put them down below in the comments section. I hope you guys had as much fun diving into this nostalgic moment as I did, and I look forward to seeing you guys later. Goodbye, and as always, keep on singing. Beyond the sky.